Hello, and we're there. What's this? The antidote to lockdown? No, that's wrong. Shit. What do we say here? Hello!
I told you in my tweet, Dave, just fucking.
Welcome to Let's Fuck with Badger, episode 1.
Episode 1, you've been doing it since I got on the fucking net.
Disney is canon.
No! Today's topic is vaccine passports. Next week's topic is Disney canon or not.
No, I'm not even getting into that at the moment.
Echo.
Apparently somebody's echoing.
Is Jar Jar Binks Sith?
Did that fix the echo? Did the echo end?
Okay.
I'm hearing
Future. Bloody hell, he's on camera.
Who?
Hi.
Where, what? What's going on?
We got
that
Quinton.
one. Hello.
Although I need to go.
Mr. Badger and everyone.
So he fits.
Do you still have echo, do you, Dave?
Do I?
Dude,
was a
still
question.
echo. I shouldn't have echo.
Yeah, I know. Dave's scared. I'm on camera. It's the end of the world.
Scummer was echoing. Sounds better now. Don't know. Is anyone else echoing? I can't hear.
Hold
echo
on.
now.
Okay, hold on.
I don't hear an echo.
There's no reason I should be echoing.
I hear a bit of static, but that's about it.
That'd be Badger. It's always Badger with the static. So.
Well, fuck it. Deal
It's
with it.
Disney. It's Disney coming after him.
All right, I'm going to mute myself. Tell me if there's still
If you pop
static.
more
I am.
echoing, Dave, it could be me.
Let's do our introduction.
I'm
Sounds
on
good
my
now.
phone, so...
Was there static while I was muted? I'm doing it again now.
But there's no static before that. Right, let me introduce everyone. It all sounds fine. Right. Right, firstly, this discussion is about passports, or vaccine passports. Specifically, we're focusing more on a tweet that Piers Morgan said earlier today, which I will read in a minute, about not being able to go into shops without a vaccine passport. So before I read the tweet, I'm going to introduce our protagonists. Bad-tempered Badger.
Hello. I talk about things on the internet sometimes, and I'm woefully underprepared for this discussion.
Best time to get him. Jeff, Godless Scummer.
Ahoy, everyone. Yes, people know who I am already, but yeah, I talk about shit on the internet as well, and I'm woefully unprepared for this, but I'll just take the position that right now that whatever it is, Badger is wrong.
Oh, we're supposed to be stating our positions. Jeff's wrong.
Not yet. No, Jeff's wrong.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've no idea what Badger's position is yet, but he's wrong, whatever it is.
We've got Sam Chaos.
Hello.
General Sorry, not Star Wars.
There we go. My position is that it doesn't really matter if it's a good idea or not. What's being proposed is logistically impossible.
Interesting.
My position is that Jeff's wrong.
We've got Jen, who is going to beat us all up while she's in bed.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My position is that I'm woefully ashamed of myself because I'm mostly agreeing with Piers Morgan.
Don't say that! We've got Lone Wanderer.
Hello. I was also woefully unprepared for this. I've not read Piers Morgan's tweet. I can't stand the twat. But I have a lot to say on this issue.
And we've got Quentin.
Hi, I'm Quentin. I talk about shit on the internet. Disney is canon, and I don't know who the fuck Piers Morgan is, so I am very woefully unprepared for this.
No, it's not. He's a twat.
You lucky person. You don't know who he is.
He's a tit.
Not like a good one.
No.
Oh, wait, but I thought all
A bad
tits are
tit.
good tits. I'm so confused. I thought...
I'd like to point out the only reason I know what Piers Morgan said is entirely Badger's fault.
Imagine a tit as in the bird that's been run over and is just
Bad tit.
gasping out a load of absolute bullshit.
So,
Should we read the tweet?
My,
And occasionally stuff.
Find
like
out what he said.
wait, my uncle's in power? Wait, what the fuck's going on?
Dave, do your thing.
Do my thing.
I want to eat my chocolate orange.
Right, mute yourself. Right. So, Mr. Bad-Tempered Badger tweeted this morning. Mandatory medication is not ethical, and laws allowing for it cannot be allowed.
I said can't. There's an apostrophe.
No. Right, this is based on a tweet that Piers Morgan put out. I love the idea of the COVID vaccine. Passports. I can't read tweets myself. I love the idea of the COVID vaccine passports for everywhere. Flights, restaurants, clubs, football, gyms, shops, etc. It's time COVID-denying anti-vaxxer loonies had their bullshit bluff called and barred themselves from going anywhere that responsible citizens go.
I mean, I kind of agree with the last part. Anti-vaxxers are fucking insane. That is true.
No, I gotta
Yeah.
jump the hell in here for a second. Oh my god, just because you can't have a vaccine does not mean that you are an irresponsible citizen. I mean, look, people like Jeff and I, we can't have that vaccine. Well,
I can have that one. What I mean,
No,
obviously...
no. I'm assuming there would be an exempt. I'm assuming if you could not have the vaccine, that would be valid as well.
I think we can all probably
and Piers
agree.
Morgan would accept that because even Piers Morgan's not dumb enough to think there's people who everybody can have vaccines.
I don't know.
I'm assuming.
I think we can probably all agree
It
on
is
the
Piers
premise.
Morgan though, so
I think we can probably all agree on the premise that anti-vaxxers are wrong and usually dumb.
Yes. I think we can...
Well, see, like, no, I was going to say, you guys aren't anti-vaxxers, so you aren't irresponsible. The anti-vaxxers are both dumb, dangerous, and need to be put somewhere far away from the rest of us.
I thought you were going to say put down.
I mean,
There you go. God says, nope, no vaccine, then no more coffee shops for you lot. That's the deal.
I might be a ginger Jen, but I'm not that evil, okay? Not all of us are.
You see, at least gingers you can keep out of coffee shops. They don't need to show their card.
yeah,
You can tell they're ginger.
Yeah, because there's certain discrimination against redheads. We're not allowed in coffee shops and we're not allowed in churches. Just how it is.
That's only because you don't have souls.
Well,
Yes,
that
you need a soul to say.
To
Oh, hang on,
I
no
think-
one's got a soul. Fuck.
I think we need to, for the sake of this conversation as well, is get a grip on what exactly vaccine passports are going to entail.
Okay.
I think that we need to establish that. I think.
I think within the context we're talking about something very simple.
It sounds like
card.
something like in kindergarten where, like, you know, you go to like a craft station and they give you a "good job, you did it" sticker, and then they're like, yeah, they did this thing, so now they can do this thing, and then, you know, you get a sticker for that.
But you know, I have one thing to say about these COVID passports. As long as there's money in the world, there's counterfeit passports.
Yeah.
That is always that is a risk with this. There's no
Yes.
two ways.
That's also
That is a
true.
potential risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean, the biggest flaw I see with it really on the surface is that, you know, whilst the vaccines that have been developed and deployed so far have shown quite good at efficacy with dealing with in reducing the risk of death and so on from COVID, it isn't necessarily the case that it still can't be spread.
Nope.
By someone that's been So on the surface of that, I see that's a fairly obvious flaw with this idea.
Chad says, once it's someone's job to enforce papers, please, it's hard to take that job away.
Yes, that's a large part of the premise of my tweet, is that I don't trust the government with this authority.
Yuhan says, my liberty and freedom loving ass says, hell no, it's a slippery slope.
Yes.
But Junk Shop says, I had to have the meningitis vaccine before I was allowed to attend my university. What would be the difference here?
I
mean, lots
would
of vaccines
disagree
are currently mandatory.
I would disagree with that being the case as well.
I think if this was I don't think there'd be an issue if this was just about travel or something like this.
It's not.
And that would, this is, but when it's just like the whole thing of just getting out and getting, just to go out and get essential supplies or whatever, I think we are running some risks here of where this, and I feel it's, first of all, I mean, see this, everything I've read on this is generally surrounding the British government. I don't trust them to get this fucking thing right, even if they do implement it, because let's face it, they fucked everything else up so far.
Yes.
But I think if you did something complicated, yes, but I think the idea of a card that you get when you go and get vaccinated.
Yeah, well, I already have a card. Or most of you get a card when you're vaccinated.
There was a comment that there was a comment on the tweet, and I should have got this open before I started speaking. So somebody else take over while I find it.
So, I don't know. I think that there's benefits to this, and I think there's a lot of downsides to it as well. Like, because, like, yeah, it'd be kind of. It's like, yeah, I had my vaccine, but again, Lone and Godless did kind of bring up a point. Like, those people that can't get the vaccine for even medical reasons are kind of fucked. And then because they're like. It's like, oh, yeah, you couldn't get your vaccine. Well, sorry, you're automatically ostracized. You're not allowed to leave your fucking house. And
you have exemptions for people who had legit medical reasons for not getting a vaccine.
I mean...
But don't forget, you don't forget the flip side of this. We've already excluded those people. I mean, Jeff spent... When our lockdown ended last year, it didn't end for Jeff.
No.
He was excluded from all functions of civil society, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things. At the moment, we're weighing this up. We're really weighing this up as to whether or not this is a necessary evil right now or not. I think there are potential benefits of this because of the situation we're in. I also see some. I also see some large flaws in this. And as I said,
I wouldn't like to see a government mandated. Well, I'd like to
the other
see
big
it government
concern is-
initiated, like you have the government initiate this passport system so people can have a document that they can show that they've had these vaccinations.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the businesses themselves, because they are private companies, to say, hey, you're not allowed in if you don't have this. If a business doesn't want to partake, they don't have to. And that lets us as consumers choose where we can go. So we can say, hey, I'm not going to this chain of cinemas because they're not protecting me as a citizen.
But the problem is, I think that would very quickly end up with it being compulsory, but effectively compulsory.
Can I just point out that
I think you're right too, but you have the option to the businesses to have the option to opt out if they choose to do so.
The fact of the matter is, we have had to, and I think we've all, most of us accept that we've probably had to, there probably has needed to be a little more draconian methods than what we're used to deal with this problem.
Our lockdowns haven't worked, basically.
Our lockdowns
They haven't. They
Ours
haven't.
have.
Oh, yes.
But
So I think that and this is at least partially a cultural thing, but because we're specifically discussing within the UK, this does apply. If you have exemption cards, you would have to try and find a balance between making it difficult enough to forge that not everyone will just buy them off the internet like they did with exemption cards for getting on buses without masks on. Because I see pretty much no one on a bus with a mask on now. You'd have to balance that with not making it so difficult to go anywhere that because you need to make sure you have the card with you, and then it's taking time to check it when you get in there.
Again, that needs to be enforced in law and needs to be very expensive.
The trouble, the problem I have with it is, well, I can't find the tweet I was looking for.
I'll show you something.
I'll try to remember my reply.
I'll show you something quickly. I don't know how well people can see this. This is what you're given right now. That's what I got after the first vaccine, and there's a date underneath it for whenever the second one. Just a little bit of cardboard. Mm-hmm. If this is what it's going to be, then this would be quite easy to.
That's dead easy to copy.
I could print one of those like right now.
Yeah, can I just point out that you have God the Good One and Ginger Jesus in the same chat? All you need is the Holy Spirit. You got the Divine Trinity.
Yeah, but the difference is I'm the real God.
I'm the real Ginger Jesus.
Oh, fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
So my thoughts on the tweet that I couldn't find were, I would, in theory, be okay with it, with this kind of measure, if it was done with certain caveats and provisos, such as a limited fixed time that the government is not allowed to extend, and that any and all legislation put in place with it is mandatorily removed at the end of that period.
That wouldn't happen because the legislation. Yeah, but the legislation is already in place.
Yeah, and that's why I can't support the government having that power to put that in place.
Because if they're not putting it in place, it's already in place.
Let me finish my sentence before you come in, because I will just get confused and leave. So, my thoughts on it are: I don't trust the government with that power. I don't think they should have it already. I don't support it being a measure that's in place, and I think anything in place for it should, presently, once this situation is dealt with, it will be important to make sure any authority the government has given itself is removed in this area.
Well, also
because it can. Sorry, I keep leaving pauses because I'm trying to think as I'm speaking. Especially because the government likes to put measures in place, then just leave them there forgotten about, and then apply them sneakily for other things later.
Yes.
I think that any legislation where the event that it was for has passed should immediately be revoked and removed.
How's that working for income tax?
I know, right?
You also have to think about like how much it's going to cost, like a mom and pop shop to have this implemented, because like not all businesses are going to be able to do this, and those that aren't probably are going to get fucked out of having some business.
Yeah.
Like, if this is like a mandatory thing and it's going to happen, like there are going to be a lot of shops. You know, like back where I was growing up, there was a comic book shop that I loved going to, and it was kind of like a second home for me. They had to shut down and almost went out of business whenever the quarantine stuff happened, and then they're just now slowly starting to make a comeback because it's starting to open up again. They're requiring everybody to wear masks, of course, but
this is exactly the thing that will allow our economy to open up again completely.
Right, but you're still gonna fuck a lot of businesses out of this. Like, you're gonna.
What's more important, the business or people?
Yeah, this is
both. The economy.
both.
The economy is important in that it functions for the people. At the moment, our economy is being shut down.
Economies will recover eventually, Dave.
Yeah,
people
but
die.
Yes, but we're talking about passport. If you have this passport and you can prevent people dying and open the economy, how is that not better?
People die when their businesses go out of business.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think if anything, if this is going to be a thing, I think it should be open to all businesses, regardless of how big they are. I mean, if it's just
I agree.
If it's just like, I don't think that businesses should be charged for this.
I don't.
Why would they wouldn't be charged?
Oh no, I agree.
The problem I really see with this is very practical as well. I think it's unenforceable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
that is my general position.
Massively unenforceable. I mean, we know now that it's supposed to be mandatory to wear fucking masks now. That shit is still not enforced.
This is a cultural thing, though, Jeff, because you're not getting the enforcement working in your country, and it's not working in the US. But in Australia, I have legitimately seen people being told to leave a store and they've turned around and walked out without the Karen arguing crap that you get.
This is our big problem here, is that we're always banging on about individual liberties and then never think about collective responsibility to one another.
No.
And this is why Britain, this is why the United States is fucked.
Jen, I don't think
this is why you have an enormous turf culture over there, Jeff.
That's another one altogether. But
different topic entirely, but it's the same thing.
I mean, I don't see how this would be enforced even at all. Really, I think people are like, "Oh, you think that this is gonna happen? That's cute." Fucking laugh it off and then act like nothing ever happened, and then just keep going.
We've got that level of enforcement here. We've got no problem with that level of enforcement.
You'd have that problem in the US of people jumping up about their First Amendment and then rioting in the street with guns.
Yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of Karens protesting a fucking Starbucks outside my house.
But I guarantee you, this would not happen in Australia. And if our government over here said, "Oh yeah, this is what we're going to do to try and make things safer for you so we can open up even more," Australians are going to go, most Australians are going to go, "That's a fucking good idea." The vast majority. I won't say all, because I know there are some people who are pig-headed about
what the problem is? Okay, you see, you're now...
The vast majority of Australians will be positive.
We have to deal with the Australia problem here. Now, the reason this is not a problem in Australia is because you kicked fucking Murdoch out. You had him sod off and ruin America and the UK.
Can I just?
The thing is, there are.
Can I just say?
And you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh God.
Go on, Sam.
Dave, can I just tell you how I feel on this? Because I'm not going to be here for right long.
Yeah, go on, God.
But the reason why what happened in Australia is because Australians are not as much of a pushover as they are in UK, and they'll stop it happening, because if you let this happen, then sick people will start getting turned away from restaurants, because people won't want them in restaurants if they don't have the card. And immigrants won't be able to get the card because they can't actually go to a hospital and say that they can't have it because they're not supposed to be here. So they won't be able to buy things anymore or go into places. And poor people who don't have anybody to take them to hospitals and get the card that says they don't have to wear it, well, they'll be exempt from going in places. And stupid people who forget their cards, well, they won't be able to go in places anymore. And if you all start labeling people as either people who can have the vaccine or can't have the vaccine, then that's disgusting. That's discriminating people who can and can't have the vaccine and separation. And you can't have that because there's going to be a lot of people who have got the vaccine passport who are going to go, I've got the vaccine passport, I can go where I like. And a lot of people who haven't got it, and they're going to get treated really, really bad.
There's going to be a lot of cracks in the system that people can fall through.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it won't happen in Australia because in Australia, people go, that's a shit idea. And here in England, we go, oh, let's make a do with this and make sure everybody's happy. Australians don't put up with shit. They tell you when it's shit.
Yeah, they don't give
and we're just too PC.
The other thing about it in the UK is there'll be a public consultation on that, but the outcome has already been decided. So the public consultation is just for show.
The worst thing about your public consultations is by the time you've had your fucking public consultation, we'll be on to the next fucking pandemic. It won't be COVID anymore.
I just want to say real quick, I would love to see an American Karen go to Australia just once and just fucking watch
she's
that.
lying.
Yeah,
There are
they're not
Australian
like yours.
Karens.
No, I'm just
There
saying.
are Australian Karens.
No, I want a Karen like what you see here in the United States go to Australia just once.
Right, Ox has an alternative view. He says anyone that does not take the vaccine, as in good health, should be contained. Flint's off Florida, put all the unvaccinated in Florida, and let the rest of the world get on with life.
Put them up in Mar-a-Lago.
Say again, God?
I don't need the vaccine. I'm healthy, and I'm not in a position where I'm mauling people and I'm stuck in crowded tubes. I don't need the vaccine. So until they really, really force it upon me to get the vaccine and say that if you don't have it, you can't go abroad, I ain't getting it. There is people who need it, and I am one of them.
You are not going to be able to go abroad. One way or another, this passport is going to come in. There's lots. It's already there.
It's going to be like TB needles to go into some countries. You're going to have this vaccine to go to any other country. That's going to be a requirement.
Are they going to start shooting? Are they going to start shooting boatloads of immigrants that are coming over from France because they don't have the vaccine? Are they bollocks? It's nonsense. There is never going to be a point where on my passport I've got to have a COVID test. It's nonsense.
Yeah, they will. And no, it's COVID vaccine.
What you will have is
not test.
It's not true.
We already do it for other vaccines.
God damn it, can I speak?
Sorry, go on, Jeff.
Years and years ago, you used to get a vaccine to go to Europe.
Oh, Jeff, go.
Not as stupid as we were before.
Shush! Jeff.
I think he's gone for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so the big issue you're going to have here is that it's already a thing we do. You already do need certain vaccines to go to certain places, and it doesn't matter that we've left the EU. All the EU rules are still in place because we had to make them our rules so that they would have to be changed, which they haven't been. Therefore, it is already in effect.
Yeah.
Therefore, saying that it won't happen is bullshit.
By the way, Sam, your mic's breaking up.
Yeah.
That's not true.
It is true.
Name one place that a British guy has travelled to and had to legally have a vaccine.
There's loads of countries. Yellow fever, malaria.
Loads of countries.
Which countries?
You would not be allowed to travel into Thailand without having a tuberculosis jab.
That's not true.
Because it's the rules of the country. You're not allowed to enter. No, it is fucking true because I've been there. You can't go into Thailand without having a TB jab.
I can book a plane to Thailand. Well, used to be able to do, and I could go tomorrow.
No, you couldn't.
From UK, maybe from other countries, but not from our country.
Not unless you had
our
those
country.
vaccines.
Look,
Not in our country.
It's
think
not
the
England
problem-
that makes the choice about who can go into Thailand.
I think
It's the Thai
problem with-
people. They make the rule. So if you have not had those vaccines, if you can't prove that you've had them, they don't let you the fuck in.
I think
All
the
right, here you
problem
go.
would be
Afghanistan,
What?
yellow
the
fever
problem would
country.
be when
We
you
get a
arrive.
TB jab when we're 15.
The problem I think would be when you arrive, and the oh fucking words, the immigration and customs people would be there to check the documentation. And in international travel, I think it's a rather different consideration.
Loan.
Yeah, when I was going through the process of moving to the United States, I had to go and get a blood test to show that I'd had antibodies, so I had certain vaccinations. I had to have his chest scan to show that I didn't have TB, and then the only actual shot I got, which is what I needed, was a booster shot of tetanus and diphtheria. But I had to prove to them through blood work that I had the antibodies.
My friend, I don't know if that is a thing from where you're from, but my friend, his boss told him he was moving to Boston, and he lived in Yorkshire. He said, "You're moving to Boston, and you're moving tomorrow." And he got on a flight, and he went to live in Boston. There's no test, and no time for tests. On a flight, gone.
Yeah.
Overnight.
He had a work visa.
I don't know if it's a different thing from.
He would still
from
have had
certain
to prove
countries.
himself. If he didn't add the town to prove it,
He would have had to
before
have
he
a
left, he
certificate.
would have had to prove it. Yeah, he would have had to have the certificates to prove it. He would have had to have gone to his doctor and got his medical certificates to show that he's had those things. And then once he got there, they would have made him have more blood tests before he could have stayed.
Oh, they didn't make me have any more blood tests. I had
No,
them
but you'd
before
already had them. You'd had them done before you left.
Yeah, you had to have it done before you left.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've got to go. I'm not. I don't mean to be like aggressive and rude, but
No, it's
you
fine.
can't be giving people passports to go fucking shopping. That's mental. If you want to give certain people passports to do certain things, that's just discrimination.
But is it better to keep the
against
shops closed
lots
then?
and lots of different people. Sorry?
So is it better to keep the shops closed?
No, open
This
the
is the
fucking
alternative.
shops and just
If
be
this is the
careful.
alternative, the shops are either closed or we have a passport.
Well, we have delivery.
Well,
We have delivery
yeah,
anyway.
if the choice is we have a passport to shop, that's disgusting because I'll be able to get the passport and go shopping. But 2 doors down from me is a guy in a wheelchair, and he gets out every now and again, and he ain't going to be having his passport because do you know what? He can't get the needle, and he can't get the vaccine, and he ain't going to get a passport. He's going to have a stupid card that says that he can't have it, and there'll be certain restaurants that'll go, "We don't want poorly people in here. See you later." And if I owned a restaurant, I'd be picking my customers too. I'd be like, I want the guys who have jobs. You know, it's out of order, but I want the guys with money that are healthy to come into my restaurant. Make it look like a beautiful restaurant for beautiful people who've got loads of money, not people that are struggling. So, and that is the way of the world, and it's not right.
How do you know they're healthy?
Oh, now see you later.
See you later.
I think
Bye.
Fucking get them running around in circles outside. And if they can't,
That's discriminatory. It's disabled.
There's a reason we have anti-discrimination laws.
Yes.
oh yeah.
I'm of
And
the
now we're
view.
introducing a passport totally against it.
I'm of the view that the more information is mandatory, the more information is made available by mandatory order about any person, the more discrimination is possible against people.
Yes,
So,
I don't
in my
disagree with
view,
that.
privacy should be assumed and a right in every case.
But
So
what-
that,
no,
wait,
not
let me
necess-
finish my sentence, Dave. So privacy should
Yeah,
be a
shut
right
up, Dave.
and assumed in every case, so that discrimination is able to be mitigated as much as possible. For example, let's use a completely unrelated example to this for a minute of job applications. I think there shouldn't be names or genders or anything put on them. I think they should be completely anonymous.
I think you're right. But that's a
I
completely other
agree
issue.
with that because then the best person gets hired for the job.
Yeah.
The point is, you can't. There has to be always has to be a compromise between public safety and privacy.
There is. I agree, Dave. 100%.
Yeah, I think the discussion is where is that, and my line is in a different position to yours.
I'm not convinced it is. I can't see an alternative way. I can't see a way to open up businesses and be safe, short of something like a passport.
I don't think anybody's safe at any time.
But
It's just
I
I
can, Dave. If you guys had gone into lockdown at the beginning when you fucking should have, you'd be able to have businesses open now.
I was at the time at the start of the lockdown, if I'm remembering correctly, saying what we should do is just shut down international travel right now.
I don't know.
Just completely cut it off.
When we found out about COVID, I think it was way too late. Already. Yeah.
I know.
Dumpster fire.
We shut down in Australia and we got it all under control.
So, I think that I mentioned at the start my position being that doing it would be logistically impossible. I think that if I could clarify that a minute, I think that with international travel, perfectly fine idea because we already do it. It can be another thing that, like, hey, yes, this person has had this vaccine, or this person it does not have to have the vaccine because they're immunocompromised or whatever. That information is already there when you do international travel. That's fine. But I think logistically, making sure that everyone who should have one of these passports gets them, even if you say, for example, that the little card will say on it, I either have had the vaccine or I'm exempt from having it, so that it doesn't discriminate between the two. Even if you did that, you've got to make sure
the card doesn't necessarily have to say that you're an exempt person. It can just say you've got the card that allows you in.
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't need to say whether you're exempt or not.
Yeah.
The issue would be making sure that everyone who should have them has them, and that no one else does. That then you would have to make it in law in a reasonable time frame that this was a thing that shops had to comply with. Then you'd somehow have to enforce that without there being riots on the
enforcement
street.
is not a massive problem. Enforcement
Well,
is
you
done
don't
now.
necessarily
It's not
have to
fantastic.
enforce.
No. Enforcement, okay, in the UK. I can talk about the UK. In the UK, we have environmental health, and they did a fantastic job. It's not perfect, all right? It's just spot checks on shops as to whether or not they're doing what they're meant to be doing.
Still stop eating your microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Sorry,
Go on,
sorry,
Jeff.
guys. I
Right.
needed to call. I needed to fucking chill out then.
That's okay.
Yeah, that was reasonable.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
reasonable.
I think you covered what I was going to say then anyway, that yes, we already do this for foreign travel, and we do get certificates for certain vaccines. Like now, I didn't necessarily have to get it, but I got a rabies vaccine for somewhere I went. I mean, the one that's a problem for me that is I probably couldn't necessarily go to a country where I need to have a yellow fever or vaccine or whatever, because unless I came off my immunosuppressants for like 3 months or something, I can't have that one. Those are there are limits to certain vaccines that I can have because I'm on immunosuppressants.
Can you get into those countries?
If you get into, generally I can get into some of those countries. I might not be able to go into certain areas of those countries. So that for example, because I was going to China, and that was something I was looking into, which is fucking ironic considering that. But I don't think I'll be going to China anyway now because of other stuff I've got issues with there, and I don't really want to give them my business. You know what I mean? But that's another topic altogether. I mean, there is obviously there is a potential issue with discrimination. I think we've got to be aware of that. there is a huge potential issue of privacy here because of data that could be, we know what the government's like about sharing data with private companies.
Shit.
Yeah. And I feel like this will give them license to start asking me questions like, "Oh, how are you immunocompromised? What's your health condition?"
Yeah, I mean,
governments already know that.
The problem we've got right now, and I've said this before, is the fact that because not just because our own government is fucking inept, and they've proven that time and time again throughout this, we have proven as a society that we cannot be fucking trusted to be responsible, and that's a massive fucking problem. We have proven that time and time again that we cannot be fucking responsible people. Unfortunately, the downside of that is that to actually get on top of this, in the short term, there might need to be some more draconian measures than what we would normally accept. And obviously then it becomes, as I think Badger pointed out earlier, once we get, there is the danger then that once we get on that on that path, will we ever get out of it again?
Short-term measures are said as short-term, and then they stay there, and then they're used for other things.
But the bottom line is, at the moment, is I think the situation we are in, we may need to, at necessity, be a little bit more draconian what we would otherwise normally accept. Because we've proven time and time again that as a people, we cannot be fucking responsible and show each other we cannot have any collective responsibility, and we bang on about individual freedoms. Those come at a price.
I agree with Jeff there, because
so do I. But apart from the fact, just wait 2 seconds, Stool. Apart from the fact, if you watch Badger's Twitter, it's the perfect example that we have eroded our country's trust in the government putting in draconian measures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but go on, Stool.
Oh, you've just summed it up. What I was going to say was, Jeff's correct. We are basically shit. We will fuck everything up given half a chance. And we need somebody to look after us and to hold our hand and say, look, don't put your finger in the fire. Don't drink that boiling water. But unfortunately, look who's in charge of us.
Yeah, the problem is we don't need that being... Yeah.
If you look at who's in charge, their finger is in the fire. If you look at the guys in charge, their fingers are already in the fire, and they're halfway through the kettle, saying, "Oh, by the way, guys, you shouldn't do this thing I'm doing right now."
As much as I hate having to agree with Badger on this one, I'm really sorry, but I have to, because unfortunately he's correct, but he's only correct accidentally. As long as we've got this lot in charge of us, they must not have any access to such things as too much of our data.
For example, Boris Johnson, don't travel, fucks off to Scotland. For example, Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason that I think it's untenable is because of the distrust that our government has already fostered, such that now getting people to comply with it en masse is going to be difficult. And so many small businesses will either not be able to, or if they are able to, the measures must be so weak that it's very easy to forge, that people won't end up complying with it. And I also, and this is more speculative, but I want to get your guys' takes on this. If you did have shops that didn't comply with it, and you had shops where everyone who went in was vaccinated, does that not negate herd immunity? Because all of the people who cannot be, or who are not, vaccinated, or who don't already have their card, are going into the same places, which will be a breeding ground for other people to do it.
Now that's an interesting question.
I see another obvious flaw with this as well.
Go on.
And that is so much of what we are doing at the moment as well anyway is having stuff delivered to us at home. which anywhere now, whether that be shopping or stuff through mail or courier orders or whatever, those are all potential places where things could spread anyway. The thing is what I'm saying. I think the big problem with this is I don't think we're actually really going to achieve much, even from a practical purpose. I think there is a big, I don't think these things are actually to achieve what they're supposed to be achieving.
I think looking at it practically, this kind of measure will have a worse effect than not doing it, because the amount of distrust that already exists will be amplified by it.
Yeah, but just to be clear, they're not
you using that as an actual argument, Badger?
Hold on.
Yes.
It isn't actually a thing. They're not doing this.
Really?
So when you're younger, you try to fight the establishment, and when you're older, you are the establishment. So I'm going to take the vaccine. You can do what you got to do.
Oh, no, it's not about taking the vaccine. It's really not about taking the vaccine.
I think as far as I know, everyone here who is capable of taking it is planning to.
Yes. Oh, is anyone not? Just out of interest.
Okay, one last fight.
I've already had
One
my
last fight.
first shot, so.
Oh, are we trying to overthrow the government now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I'm just trying to catch up.
I have been advised by 2 separate doctors not to do it, so.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
To take the vaccine?
To not take the vaccine because of all my health problems.
Do you have asthma or?
Yeah, asthma. I have asthma. I have IBS. I have pinched nerves. I have early onset arthritis. You name it.
I know someone that is a severe asthmatic that just took it, and they were sick.
And I will say although what I experienced was quite mild, there are some definite side effects with these, and with these ones that have been rolled up. A lot of people have reported that 1 in 10 people have reported on the Oxford vaccine to experiencing some side effect or another. Yeah. Now, I'll admit, mine was I was completely flipping drains the following day. Almost like if you've ever been anaesthetized and you know what you're like for a day afterwards. That's kind of what it was like.
Well, look,
my side effects were really mild. For my first shot, I had like a slight headache for a few hours, but that was it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Uhan, for your.
Brits got it.
Thank you. Thank you, Uhan, for your $1.99. Insert Fight Club reference here.
My UK specifically, my thoughts on what the government should do are as follows. The government should amplify scientific I forgot words. They should amplify the voices of the people creating the vaccine and the scientific community there, saying this is what it does, this is how it works, this is how it will benefit. Should provide the vaccine and make it available, focus all of the funding and effort on making it available to everyone, and then get the fuck out of the way.
There's a slight problem with that. If you remember in September or October of last year, the 2 clever scientist people who do the daily briefings, I forget the names, they did a live press conference by themselves without the politicians being present. And all they did was explain basic maths. And they got dragged through the press. They were called liars, fraudsters, asked to explain their work, where they got the numbers from. And all they did was explain basic maths that a turnip could understand. So, as Jeff said, the people in this country are just idiots. Scientists saying this is what it will do, this is how it works. Nah.
Regardless of your feelings.
I mean, we have a group of people, of MPs that are telling the public that we should be setting an arbitrary end date to lockdown. Now, our government has finally listened to the scientists and said, we're going to do this based upon, basically on the R value. When the R value and the bed's empty enough, when we actually we have a target to hit, that's when we're going to start easing restrictions on lockdown. But there's still this group, and they are making headlines every day now in the papers. That they want an arbitrary date for the end of lockdown.
And we know who this group are, don't we?
But what does that? What does that do? Okay.
This group is the CRG, the COVID Response Group, which coincidentally is exactly the same people who were the ERG, the European Research Group. Basically, Nazis.
So, quick question: what happened in those 5 days when you guys had 5 days of freedom during Christmas?
Wait. Stool just yada yada basically Nazis, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not.
They are the far right in the UK.
And they're basically in charge. They're running the show.
I should just mention, I don't know who any
Stool
of
should
those
not be in
are.
charge. Stool can't even handle being in charge of his own fucking corner. So no.
They're not Stool. Stool's not one of them.
Why are you picking on me?
No,
I've been a good boy.
know
I've got
that.
hot chocolate.
Oh, Stool, you're racist. Hi, racist. Good morning. Good morning, you racist.
I might have to go and get hot chocolate.
They're just for the record, I think people you're on about though are mainly more Tories, though, aren't they? Still,
No. These are the very right.
I think if we're talking about who I think we're talking about, they're considerably further right than the Tories.
Very much.
I mean,
so.
they're all members of
the European. Yeah. I mean, the European Research Group was pretty much Tories
in Parliament.
It's all Tories, but the very, very far right ones who've got evil intentions, and the ERG are basically the CRG, the COVID
response. Something.
I mean, they're even laughing at us with the name.
Yes, they're trying to make it sound that they're like the LGB Alliance.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the power of those people, because they are literally evil and wicked, and they're running the show.
Yeah, they do have a very important.
Oh, hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Hey.
Hey, Jenny.
What we got going here?
I don't know.
We got
fucking rich shit.
The fucking dumpster
fire.
Pick on Badger Night.
Right, so
I think at this point we're shitting on the British government.
Let me tell you a quick background thing of how we got here. I posted a thing on Twitter in response to a tweet from a knobhead that I disagreed with. A lot of people disagreed with me in what I said, and now we've carried the Twitter argument over to video.
And just to clarify, the original thing that Badger started farting on about was a tweet by Piers Morgan, where Piers Morgan said something that was bullshit and was never going to happen anyway. So everybody sat here.
We all know Piers Morgan is the authority on everything.
Yeah, but we think it should. I think passporting for shops is a good thing.
As I said,
so do I.
As I said, coming into this thing, I could be swayed either way on this because I see pros and cons to this.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you junk shopping.
So yeah, it's currently.
Yeah, I'm basically holding the position that while it could in theory be a good idea, in practice we're not going to be able to do it in any useful manner.
I agree.
As I said earlier, I don't think you can. I agree that you couldn't enforce it, but I think the government could actually do the passporting side of it, and you just then don't have it compulsory. That way, businesses could choose to make that exemption, like saying if you don't have a passport, you're not coming in. But without it actually being a legal requirement.
Yeah, then it becomes then it becomes a problem there, Jen. That if it's optional for people to do this or not, it's going to defeat the whole purpose of it anyway. It's like,
maybe I'm coming at this from an Australian perspective.
Yeah.
My
the thing is that people
you're coming from a perspective of a country that does not have a bunch of fucking idiots like we do.
I think the big issue is because I know that if it was done that way in Australia,
I think Badger's tried to say something a few
Badger.
times, guys.
Sorry. Yeah, I think Badger's.
Right, go on, Badger.
It's a bad idea in theory and in practice. I'm going for a piss.
All right. See now, Jen. I think that the thing, Jen, is that if you made it optional, lots of people wouldn't want to do it in Britain. Therefore, companies wouldn't want to do it because they would lose profits.
Yes, but if I take it from an Australian perspective, you do it this way and you make it optional. Peer pressure within the country itself would actually make it happen.
I think we're under the delusional...
Oh yeah, but you need that culture.
It's delusional to think that you have freedom.
So that's where our culture is a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's delusional to think that you have freedom. If you have to wear a mask, wear a mask. You know, if they have mandates, you're gonna do it. I know we're debating about it and we're talking about it, but in the end, we're gonna have to do this in order to stop this. If not, then we're gonna have COVID around for a long time.
I'd like to take this moment to let us all appreciate the fact that we are actually in a critical question right now. Like it's not theory. We're actually in critical questions right now.
Yeah, you totally fucked this one up, Dave.
Get naked and be nice to people then.
Next question.
With a mask on. With a mask on.
Just wait. Sarcastic barman said, "I'd happily vaccine card for people
Can't
coming
get
into
people
my
with
bar."
mask on.
You can do other stuff with the mask on. Play paper, rock, scissors. See who goes first.
Do you reckon a GIMP mask would protect you from COVID?
No, because you're exchanging fluid.
What is the difference between
yeah.
What is the difference between mandating a mask, mandating a vaccine, and mandating pants?
There. See, but where I live, you can go topless to a restaurant. Pants are kind of optional here.
That doesn't make
So
any sense.
I think my answer to that, Dave, would purely and simply be that I think that the difference between pants and masks isn't there except in people's perception, and the masks didn't work. And I think that because the perception is the same for the passports then wouldn't work. Should they? Yes. Will they? I don't think so.
Uhan says, only one of those goes in your body. You haven't seen my underwear. It rides right up.
Oh, Dave!
Sarcastic Barman says, only problem with peer pressure getting people to have it is that the nutters hang out together.
Yes.
Very true.
No, I had a nightmare last night. I don't want another one tonight.
I mean, the problem is Sam did make out a good point earlier that I kind of want to go back to. That if we have a set of shops that exclude people that haven't been vaccinated or can't be vaccinated, we end up with a set of shops that only those people will go to. Another set of shops, a shop that only the people that are not vaccinated, don't want to, are obstinate or can't.
Lidl.
Lidl. Right. And
I'll raise my paw for the obstinate category.
Right. Right, and
we all know badges are obstinate.
Because while I fully intend to get the vaccine, if I was asked on my way into a shop if I'd had it, I would refuse to answer on principle.
You would refuse to answer on principle. You would literally wouldn't go shopping.
No, I
wouldn't go shopping in certain places.
I would attempt to go shopping, but if on my
You
way
wouldn't go
into the
shopping
shop,
on principle.
yeah,
Wait,
I would-
no. So you're saying that you would go to you would shop at the place that didn't ask, where all the sick people
Yes,
are.
I would. I would absolutely do that. If there was a shop where one shop I had to identify myself and show them paperwork to prove that I am clean, and another shop where I don't, I will only shop at the shop where I don't.
Would you get your temperature taken?
No.
So you're basically
You would starve
gonna be
here.
having little
Roger,
ginger biscuits.
what's wrong with you?
You would starve here. Because here at certain places, they take your temperature as you walk in the door.
Oh no! Sorry, I misunderstood. You talk about the little
Yeah, the gun where they
thingammy gun. Yeah, that I would do.
Okay.
So why is that okay? But showing your card that says you've had a vaccine isn't.
I refuse to identify myself to go shopping.
But you kind of already do if you buy like certain products, don't you have to show ID?
Pretty difficult. I don't see many badgers in the fucking shop, to be honest. But
I don't know. I don't know.
using your card.
But do you get carded for like cigarettes and alcohol?
No, some people do.
All I'm saying is you have to identify.
Do you object? How do you object to that? Sorry, go on,
The thing is,
Amanda.
I'm 18. Amanda, sorry.
Me? Badger, consider the flip side of this. You're talking, what if one person, their life is lost because you went in that store, because they didn't ask?
What
That doesn't bother you?
I don't understand what circumstances we're talking about here. Can we?
You have to assume that
Can we
you're
elaborate
a symptomatic carrier.
That not just you necessarily, the store itself is going to spread the disease because people are obviously going to go in, because people that are anti-mask are going to go in. People that are anti-vax are going to go in and use these shops because it's convenient for them. So you're okay with that? That people will die because of the shop, as opposed to the other one where all you have to do is literally show some ID.
I'm not okay with this entire circumstance. I think the entire thing should be organized differently.
So how do you think it should be organized then, Badger?
That part is why I think this whole thing's a bad idea.
I think the thing.
What's the alternative?
The thing I just see with this is it's not for all the potential upside. I do see to this because the issue to me is the actual practicalities and logistics of being able to do this. And I don't think you could not have people opting in and out of a scheme like this. That just defeats the entire fucking purpose of it.
You probably couldn't in the UK, but I bet it would work in California.
Yeah.
Where will it? If it was optional, I think it would still work, and the peer pressure would work.
But then say take another part of that country. Just say where Manda is or where Lone is or whatever.
Oh. I agree with you.
You're in a totally different fucking situation whatsoever because Manda's one of the few sane people in the state of Georgia.
No, we're blue now.
Right. In response to somebody earlier, I can't remember who. What do I think should be done? I think the government of the UK, I'm speaking UK only, I know absolutely nothing about anybody else's countries, and I don't know very much about my own. I think that the UK government should focus all its funding, effort, and energy on making the vaccine available to everyone, starting with those who are most vulnerable and need it most, should make it available, and most, I think, as I understand the situation and people's attitudes to it, most people will take it. Those who don't,
we don't know.
We
don't know if we're going to hit 80%.
I know. That's the.
This is the UK government we're talking about.
This is the yeah.
Did you see the latest YouGov questions?
No,
but we're also talking the fact that, unfortunately, anti-vaxxers are significant enough now to in this country to actually cause a fucking problem with this.
It is serious.
But I do think in principle, Badger's right. The thing that we should be doing is focusing on all our efforts to getting people vaccinated. Then we can that'll probably be a quicker way of getting the fucking economy going as well.
But do you guys have an infrastructure for distribution?
Yes.
Or is
we've already got a quarter of adults vaccinated almost.
Because here it's
the first dose, not necessarily the second.
First dose, not second yet, but we've already got a quarter of adults having had the first dose.
But we could be well ahead, further ahead with this than we actually were. But everything
absolutely.
Else, they failed every fucking target they've ever set.
The government made another big cock up when they
had both doses.
They gave a load of people the first dose and then went, "Oh, actually, we're not going to give you the second one," for apparently no reason.
To try and get more people on the first one and get some coverage. Again, it's a gamble. But the maths
That's
is
what-
slightly in their favour. But
That's
It's like I've had
how
my-
they do it.
But that's what the
I've had
focus
my-
should really be.
I've had my first shot, and my second shot is going to be in April, for example.
Yeah, my thoughts are make it available, offer it to everyone, get as many people as you can to do it willingly.
Yeah. And when that's
Then
not enough,
once that's done, once everyone who is willing to take it and is not a fucking idiot takes it, then focus some campaigns and effort on the people who don't want to take it.
and if we could open the economy sooner, if we could end lockdown sooner by mandating it, would that not be better?
What would these campaigns look like?
I've got no fucking idea. Don't ask me difficult questions.
Stop offering up answers
the damage-
that aren't answers.
But
That's
the damage
the
already
point,
done?
Badger. All of this is difficult, and we have. If you're going to say no, I'm not going to do this, then you have to offer up another solution that's as good, if not better.
Unfortunately,
people
the
to take the
problem is,
vaccine.
As far as I can tell, I
unfortunately-
have.
Unfortunately, the problem is that a lot of the people who won't get the vaccine are going to use the same argument that they're going to use about the fucking passports. My rights not to take this.
Yeah,
that's the fucking problem with
Pretty
this.
much what Badger's saying.
Yeah,
About
offer,
Yeah,
offer
that is
money.
the
If you
fucking
offer people
problem.
cash to take the vaccine, a lot of people will take it.
They
I have-
recently.
I like that
I've been,
idea.
I've been listening here.
Yeah.
It's my turn. I first of all think that I don't care about the people who are willfully holding themselves away from treatment and prevention. I'm concerned about them in the sense that they can affect the mass once we get to a certain point of immunizations and stuff. And we should probably deal with them quite harshly at that point. But if they want to die, that's just fine. And I expect that the virus is going to become mutated in such a way that it will be not only more communicable but much more virulent. Have you ever seen or heard of a virus that gets less virulent?
Yes, lots of them.
Don't get me started on medical autonomy, because I'll get on a soapbox and I won't get off.
One of the interesting things about that point of yours, Jenny, is that in general, as these dangerous viruses have become more virulent, as in more able to spread, they've also become less dangerous to us as a whole, because the viruses, the ones that have become better at spreading, have also been less likely to kill their hosts, because the viruses don't really want to kill us. They want to just reproduce and keep going.
The ones that get less virulent become less of a problem.
Yes.
Well, people they get the vaccine and then they disappear. Like what was it? Smallpox came back and measles came back because of the anti-vaxxers.
I was going to mention something about measles, because the fact is several states in the US mandated measles certificates.
Here in California, because we had such a problem with the people downtown, we had medieval diseases because we weren't taking care of our homeless,
Yeah.
and we paid for it.
Didn't you guys have the plague?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't go downtown for
it's
almost 6 months. I didn't go downtown.
Yeah, I mean, this is the and I know that I try not to, because when it comes to anti-vaxxers, I do have a tendency to get on my fucking soapbox, because I think they are fucking scum. I really can't, but but herein lies a problem of what the anti-vaccines has done. There should not, in the 21st century, be fucking measles outbreaks in, especially places like Great Britain and the United States.
I agree with you.
No fucking reason there should be outbreaks of measles now.
The UK is officially one of only 2 countries in Western Europe to be classified as not measles-free anymore.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
That's
Barman
no
just said
I got it at school, for fuck's sake, a measles jab.
Yeah, and Barman just said South Wales people have died in South Wales because of the drop in the MMR uptake.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Andrew Wakefield, did he go to jail?
No. He just got his license to practice medicine revoked.
He should be put in prison for life.
Wakefield,
he is the if anyone is responsible for the anti-vax movement, it's Andrew Wakefield. He was a doctor who came out. He was the one who came out with this shit that the MMR vaccine causes autism.
Yep.
And you actually look at his research. His own research was fucking really crap. Now it did get published in the Lancet, which is a quite prestigious medical journal. It was later retracted by the Lancet because it did not stand up to peer review. But also found this guy, for all his like anti-vax stuff, he had a financial interest in a potential rival vaccine to the MMR. He's an unethical piece of shit. This guy,
if I'm remembering,
and now he is grifted and living off of the conspiracy theories who buy into his fucking bullshit. He's still living off them.
If I'm remembering this correctly, he started off trying to through false methodology prove that one particular vaccine was ineffective so that he could push a different one, and now a load of idiots have latched onto that as all vaccines don't work.
He was trying to fuck with the MMR vaccine is what he was trying to do.
Oh,
literally. Right, back to the point at hand here, which I completely forgot. Right, if we had, I think we are ultimately going to end up with passports that we have to travel on. I think that's inevitable. I
think we already have them.
Well, yes, I meant with a COVID vaccine. If people want to go away on holiday for the next several years, I think they're going to require.
Yet again, we also have the yellow certificates that you need to travel.
Like we've already said, you already have required vaccines you have to take to travel. So this is just going to be another thing added to the travel for most countries.
Yeah, because I know people that have gone to certain countries and they have to get the malaria shot. They have to, they have to get all kinds of shots.
Yeah.
Depending on where
they're
they're going
from travel if they don't.
The travel.
Yeah, at least in America, you can't.
It depends on the country.
Like in America, you can't go to. I don't even want to say it because it's kind of racist. There are certain countries that you can't go to without certain shots, and brown people live there.
Mexico.
That too.
The international travel thing, that I think is not the main issue that has caused consternation.
No, we're talking about shops. We're talking about
that's
services.
Mostly agreed on by everybody.
But there isn't any consternation. It's not a real thing. It's not happening.
But it should happen. Is the point?
I agree. It should happen. It definitely should. I'd be very happy if it happens here.
I think we'd be in a much better position if it did happen. Because I think we end up in a situation where we can open back up. We can start going to cinemas.
I miss smoking a joint in the parking lot.
We can have international travel. We can have cinemas. You can have restaurants. You can have everything.
See, I miss casinos. I miss the smell of desperation and cigarettes.
Don't get me wrong. If it was a thing, I would probably still use it because it's useful. But
yes,
I don't think that it can, in practical terms, work effectively.
Why not though? Why couldn't it be a thing?
Specifically in the
work
UK,
in civilized countries like Australia, but in the UK it just simply would never work. We cry when it snows. We're shit. Have you ever tried getting a driver's license when you've lost your passport, or getting a passport when you've lost your driver's license? We can't even fucking do that. We shit. We are monumentally shit at organising stuff.
Well, then they have another problem in America, at least, that HIPAA regulations would prevent them from sharing that information about who did and didn't get a shot.
What's a HIPAA regulation?
It depends on what job you have.
I think the idea of having a piece of paper that you show to people yourself would bypass that, because the HIPAA regulations and UK equivalents, which I can't for a minute remember, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, are based upon the idea that a third party, as in a medical professional, can't share your information without your consent.
So in America, you have to have an ID on you at most time. What is the difference between that and having a vaccination record of saying, "Hey, I got the jab"?
I think the difference for this discussion is having to show it to go into a shop.
Yeah.
But if a cop stopped me and I didn't have my ID, they could take me to jail.
I would oppose that as a rule.
That's definitely not the case in this country.
Yeah, no,
That's what I'm saying.
I
In
often
this
don't
country,
carry any form of identification. And
Oh
if
no,
someone
most
stops
people
me-
don't.
it wouldn't be.
Most people don't carry ID.
As an American, it wouldn't be a difference. It would just be another card to carry. That's all I'm saying.
If someone was to stop me and ask
Yeah.
me to identify him,
Same for Australians.
I
mean,
think it was-
you don't get dragged to. If you get stopped by a cop in Australia and you don't have your ID on you, you don't get dragged to jail. But you do have to show up to the cop shop within 24 hours with your ID.
I think in the UK, I think
They can require things.
I think in the UK,
You-
the
you
position
guys-
on. Hang on, let me finish. I think in the UK, someone correct me if I'm fucking this up. I think unless you are suspected of a crime, you are not required to identify yourself to police.
You are not
That's
required.
Wow.
That's correct.
So if a
That's
police officer
weird.
asked me to identify myself and they didn't suspect that I was in the process of or intending to commit a crime, I am under no obligation to identify myself to them.
They can. The problem you have though is they can use you not identifying yourself as grounds to investigate you.
Yeah,
If
that's
that makes
where
sense.
that's where this
This
starts
is where
to fall
it's
down.
it's
There's
not
also
as
certain-
reliable as you.
There's also certain anti-terror regulations that bypass that.
Yeah.
Jenny's got her letters of transit to get out of Casablanca.
Okay,
There are your letters of transit.
Look at
See,
this.
the,
Tell me how
the
hard this
police
would
in
be to-
Australia have
Hold
the
on a
right
second.
to ask you for your ID, and you have to present it to them.
Yeah,
Tell
I
me
don't
how hard
agree
it
with
would be
that.
to-
I would oppose that.
I
here.
know.
Let Jenny show her.
I can't show her on screen. I've lost her window.
Well, it's I don't know if it's still.
Just hold on. Just hold on. Let me make my point, please. For Christ's sake, I'm sick of Pete getting talking over by this group. This is an ID for getting your COVID. How hard would it be to duplicate this piece of shit?
Yeah, we've been talking about
You
that.
could do that in about 5 seconds on a goddamn computer.
Yeah.
What is the
Make
point
Jenny
of any
big.
of this?
I can't. Being big is not the problem. I have literally lost her window.
So anyone who can't see, Jenny is holding up her letter of transit.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't know if it's still the case, but in New Zealand for the longest time, if you didn't have bus fare on you, money, about I think it was like maybe like $1. If you didn't have $1 on you, they would say you're a vagrant and arrest you for vagrancy.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have bus fare to get home.
Yeah, America's a little bit different. You have to have ID at all times here. It all depends on who you are and where you are.
And by the way, this makes me better than all of you.
It does. It does.
It does.
You have the card to prove it.
The point is, would you?
Yeah, that would be easy
if every shop had.
to fake, but
Go on.
I was going to say, yes, the cards that people are currently being given would be easy to fake, but a proper ID, government-issued ID, would not be as easy to fake.
But that then becomes trackable, which is where the line is with Badger. This is where we're arguing.
In the UK, that would get the whole crowd of people who opposed citizen ID cards would immediately say, "No, get the fuck out."
Oh no, but what makes you think you're not being tracked?
We're not particularly because
Tell
we don't
me-
have any unique.
Do you own a cell
Tell me,
phone? Do you
Badger,
pay
have
a
you
bill?
been using the tracking apps
Oh,
for
no.
COVID?
Wait. One person at a time.
Do you pay your bills? Do you own a cell phone? Do you because they're tracking you?
He doesn't.
Bills?
Bills, yes. My bills don't follow me when I go for a walk.
But if you don't pay them, they'll follow you for life.
No. 7 years in this country.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing in the States too. 7 years in the States.
No, I know.
The
I'm just
phone
kidding.
thing, again, when I go for a walk, I often don't take it.
And
Yeah, most people get tracked constantly and they don't realize it.
Yes.
Okay. To be quite honest.
Yeah. That I agree with. Not as in I agree with it happening, but I agree it does.
Yeah.
I installed Western Australia's COVID app so that whilst we're at the various points where we've been in full lockdown, I've been able to scan myself into businesses when I go in. So they know where I've been, so that if there's been an outbreak, I can be informed that I need to go get tested.
This is a good point. If you're in China, which I know is not the most ideal place to want to live, but their track and trace, that's the problem we have in the UK. Our track and trace system is virtually non-existent. If you're in China, you've got your mobile phone with you, or cell for the Americans here, and literally everything you do, you get on a train, you get on a subway, you go in a shop, you have to scan yourself. And so they can quickly and very easily identify somebody who might be, a problem.
Yeah, I saw a video of the guy who, the bridge stabber guy, they tracked him from his front door all the way to the bridge. Or I might be confusing it with somebody else. But your police was on him like the second he was in the city because they have surveillance of of all of London.
Yeah,
have we lost someone?
To get back to what
Jenny.
Sorry.
Yeah, we lost Jenny for a minute.
What Jeff and I have agreed on, and I think Badger, but you can never tell with him, is that the UK is basically shit, and we couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery.
No. Oh yeah, that I agree with you on.
If you look at our new COVID hotels, that starts today. It's a stupid fuck up mess, because when people arrive in this country and they've filled the form in saying I'm from the naughty country, they get escorted through Heathrow through the same fucking area that everybody else is, thus defeating the total point of it. They get shoved in a hotel which they personally have to pay for, £1,750 for 10 days. During the stay, they're allowed out for exercise and can just go and walk around wherever they fucking want. We don't do things properly in this country.
I saw that on the news this morning. It was kind of laughable.
Well, they've the thing is, I mean, let's be honest, they have fucked up at every turn on this. Every fucking lockdown, they should have gone into a lot fucking sooner. Every time they've come out of them, so there's a huge thing with our government now. I sort of hesitate. I know what are the people's fears about this. Now, I do hesitate. As much as I fucking despise the Tory party, these are people that believe very strongly in the concept of individual liberties. For all their faults. But then again, in a warped way, so did Donald Trump. So it's
as long as you're a member of a golf club, they do.
I mean, they are selective about that. But but they've got a very much they've got a very much a neoliberal ideology, which is sadly so the fucking Labour Party as well. But but this is the issue with this. That there's more. Now I understand Dave has made this point. It is in our interest to try and get the economy going, but I honestly think the best way of doing this is going to be more of a drive to get vaccines out to as many people a lot fucking quicker than they're doing.
So
I came into this. I wasn't sure one way or the other. I haven't really been swayed either way by this because I see the potentials of this. I have said a number of times, unfortunately, because we as a society have shown, because when I talk about like the individual free liberties kind of thing, that fucking kind of neoliberal Tory ideology is the ideology most people in this country are kind of sold on as well, to the point when we do not see collective responsibility as a thing. It's all we're just fucking selfish as people. We've just
it's the same thing in here though.
That's been a mass. Yeah, absolutely. This is the problem, and the sad thing is because we have shown that we can, have a collective responsibility towards others, towards ourselves as a society, does this mean that in the short term that there needs to be something more fucking draconian to actually deal with this thing?
The problem is people have shown that they have misconstrued what personal responsibility is. So they can say my body, my rights, but where does that stop and start at my rights and your rights,
Yeah.
Where not wearing a mask, you're putting other people's lives at risk.
It's the same as Christian fundamentalists who use the "my body, my rights" argument to go to fucking mega churches in the United States,
which is laughable,
and spread fucking COVID around, and they equate that to the "my body, my choice" thing. So they equate it to the abortion issue.
Because I'll tell you, like, we had our first lockdown worked. It was amazing in Los Angeles. Our numbers were down, and then during the second lockdown, people were like, "Oh, I can't do this again," and our numbers are through the roof. So where's that trade-off?
I mean,
because
and
the numbers
from Star Trek in terms of
Britain has its own, does have its own individual issues. That Britain was always going to get hit hard with this because it is an international travel hub.
Mm-hmm.
Our population is quite sort of condensed, and I mean, like, what we got a population? What, about 60 million people in the UK, something like that?
65 million.
65 million.
Too bloody many.
In a country where, let's be honest, that is smaller than most of the individual states in the United States.
Oh yeah,
so we were always going to get hit hard with this, but we could, if partially because a big part because of the way our government is fucked up at every turn, but also how we as a society have failed at every fucking opportunity to deal with this.
Absolutely.
Barman says, if you could track an outbreak back to someone breaking lockdown rules, should you charge them with manslaughter?
Yes.
Well, talking of
getting to a
bringing
point
back
where you
the
might need to
economy
consider
and
that.
government fuck-ups,
I
on
think
the
if you-
latest YouGov survey, do you know what one of the questions is?
What?
And a YouGov survey is basically, hey, let's see what the public think about, what the government is pondering about. One of the latest questions is, hey, should we have another eat out to help out?
Hang on.
Who names these things?
Wait a minute.
Damn it.
So
Do not
whoever
Wait there. That could go hand.
whoever names these has never had sex in their life.
Just
Whoever names these, I'm sorry. Whoever names these, it's getting ridiculous now.
have another.
Right.
Hey,
Okay.
it would help me
Can
out
I-
right about now.
Can
Someone explain what the fuck
I-
that
But
is?
he's at
I
work
could-
till 8 o'clock. Damn it.
I can get on. No, listen. I'll just skip through because I can go on a massive fucking rant about eat out to help out. That is the massive fuck. That was one of the most stupid fucking things ever to get, because of course when you're not ordering, like, say, a takeout food, you're actually going into a restaurant to eat.
We could do it with a passport.
There's the no, but here's the fucking problem.
Yes.
I mean, here's the obvious one with this: eat out to help out. On the I'm pretty damn sure it was the same day. It may have even been the same briefing. There was the big announcement about, listen, people who are obese or whatever are more likely to die from the COVID thing and have less. So on the same day, they tried to saying that they try to incentivize people to go out and get cheap Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's.
Which will kill you in the long run.
So that's how fucking dumb this thing was.
There you go. Eat out to help out, but only people that have had the vaccine.
So is your economy
shut up
struggling
now.
though? Is your economy struggling? Because our mom and pop shops, they're dying.
Everywhere is dying here.
And what's going to happen is all the corporations are just going to get more and more locations and more of a
We've
grip.
got a double whammy going on. We've got COVID and Brexit.
Yeah.
So I think we're about 2
And they are
trillion
going to
debt
try and
at the
blame
moment.
everything on COVID.
I am concerned that my favorite Greasy Spoon restaurant will be deceased, and they are the only one that offers tomatoes rather than just puts them on your plate.
Badger is incapable of saying no tomatoes.
First world problem.
It's fucking awkward.
How is it awkward to say I don't want tomatoes?
Because they assume you want them. Most of them, you go in, you ask for a fried breakfast. You go in and you say, "Hello, I would like a fried breakfast, please." And they go, "All right, here you go." And then your whole fucking plate is infected with dribbly tomato water.
Do not know you exist.
Badger, do you this whole hangout is because you had a fucking issue with the passport thing. Now you are bitching about fucking tomatoes.
Because we've said all the serious stuff, and if we go over again, we'll start shouting again.
We're talking about one fucking privileged Badger here.
We've been over the
I
serious.
think all of this comes down to a simple Star Trek philosophy of the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah, we need the passport.
Oh, I like that.
We need the passport because to protect our societies as a whole, we need to give up some of our personal rights so that we can be safer in this. And anyone sitting there thinking, "Oh, this is all going to go away. We've got the vaccine now. It's going to be okay. We'll eventually get on top of it." Yeah, we will. But there's going to be another one. There's always another one. Mm-hmm. The systems we put in place now will protect us in the future with future ones. Looking at the best ways that countries have responded and dealt with it will let us, next time that we cop one, be able to deal with it fast and furious. And instead of taking 12 months to 2 years to sort the fucker out, we might be able to get on top of it in 6.
So it doesn't really matter what the UK does now, then.
Thing.
It doesn't really matter what the UK does now. We'll just fucking carry on.
You're all going to die anyway.
Haven't you noticed every lesson we're learning about this, we learned 100 years ago with the Spanish flu?
We did.
What makes
You're
you
right.
think 100 years from now they're going to remember any of this?
No, it's worse. The worst thing is the 70s. In the 60s and 70s, that's when we did our proper pandemic modelling, right?
Yep.
And we knew exactly what was going to happen. We knew what numbers to put in when the virus was discovered, and we knew how it would spread and how it would move around, and it was all modelled. And basically all of that's been thrown away in the past decade.
Yeah, we used to be pretty good at sorting these serious issues out. I'm old enough to remember at primary school, the poor kid with the thingies on his legs because he had polio. You don't see that anymore, do you? Because we used to do things properly.
Even in my day, we got tuberculosis shots.
Now, we've got a huge problem over here where people aren't taking the vaccine or are refusing to go and take it when they're offered it. There's a big difference between being offered and taking, just by the way, if you're watching the figures that the government are giving you, with black and Asian and minority communities, because they're being told that it's whatever, it's not halal. They're giving you a different one because you're black. It's the white people doing experiments.
Same thing here. Our numbers are so... It makes me want to cry. When I actually recently saw the numbers of black people in Los Angeles are just flat out refusing to take the vaccine.
Yeah. Right.
Because they were told there's something in it.
Before we run away, I've got one more proposal for you, put across by Sarcastic Barman. The passport.
But whoever was talking last, I couldn't hear you. You're like almost zero for gain.
That's something at your end, Jen. It was Will, he was fine.
I hear everyone else perfectly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. No. Before you.
Stool.
Okay,
One
Stool,
of the side effects of the COVID jab is losing your hearing, by the way.
But it's selective to stools.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
Right.
It's because our ears are tied to our noses and you just don't want to smell the stool.
Exactly.
Right, question.
Yes.
We do the passport. We make it not mandatory, but we add a 15% tax on everything unless you have it to fund the NHS.
How are you going to police it?
You get in the shop. It's like a discount card in a shop.
There'd be riots in the street.
Yeah.
Because you're separating people.
They'd be like, but right.
You police it through your VAT system. So you add an extra 15% VAT onto everything, and those who, but anyone who's got the vaccine card counts as a discount, is what they're saying.
The UK did something similar with taxation and purchasing in the corporate world. The last time I remember them doing it, they earned a little event called the Boston Tea Party. You may want to reconsider that one, Dave.
Look,
I mean, without representation, you're represented here.
You fuckers, you fuckers still owe us 200 years tea duty, so you know.
Hey, you guys got your revenge in 1812 and in 1813 and 1814.
I mean, all of us here lived through September 11, and then we had like the Patriot Act and all of that, and like all of this is breaking me down. So it's like, not you, Sam. All of this is breaking me down, but I think if there was a COVID passport, as much as I love my privacy and freedom and everything, I'd probably acquiesce. You know.
That's a nice one.
Because in America, we don't have any freedom anyways. Go read the Patriot Act.
I know. The Patriot Act.
Go read it. And it's still active.
If it was a temporary measure,
so many
I would.
freedoms, you can't even keep track of them. Good.
Until somebody takes it away from you instantly.
Yeah.
Right. And the Patriot Act has to go, but you have don't be so dramatic with it. You have
it's not because it's not used against you. It's used against me. Here in LA, they incite that because they can walk up to you and stop and search you for no reason.
Yeah, there's like.
I agree. By the way, I agree.
It depends on who you are.
Yeah, Brown.
I agree with Carmen's comment, by the way.
Which were there?
While you're reading up on the Patriot Act,
No, I don't even understand you being upset by that.
Have a look at the Tory manifesto.
After this whole conversation,
see how much money
one at a
they've
time. Let's still finish.
budgeted for the introduction of national ID cards. How much over 3 years they've budgeted into getting that system up and running.
I think national ID cards are a great idea.
But Stuart Badger, what are you going to say?
My thoughts are, after this whole discussion, if things like I've had the I've had the vaccine card were brought in as a temporary measure, I'd be fine with them. Okay. My issue is I don't trust the government to keep it temporary.
It's okay. They'd be brought in as a temporary measure.
Yeah, they'd be brought in as a temporary measure.
Yeah, and then they'll be like,
then they'd be still around 20 years later, and they'd have morphed into the thing that I've been opposing for years.
Yes, they would.
So I can't support it for that reason.
Barman says, stuff the tea duty. They still owe us for the war we had to fight with the French for them. That led to us needing to tax them to start with.
30 fucking years, and we had to kick the bloody French for them.
I'm not so bothered about the tea duty. I just want the tea.
It makes me laugh how it always goes back to the French. It always goes back to the French.
In 5 years, these Americans will be begging
fucking
for
French.
fish.
Let's just all agree to blame the French for COVID.
Yes. I am entirely on board. That's where all foul things emerge.
Yeah, but blame Canada. Blame Canada is a way better song.
Actually,
you guys still owe us for the fact that your Chamberlain's successor was not named Adolf. Okay.
Well, there's an argument to be had there that we shouldn't start right now.
Right.
I think we're all taught different versions of history. It depends on where you're from. Because Eisenhower did defeat Hitler. Come at me. Come at me.
Come at me, bro.
Harmonica man.
Zhukov.
But no, I'll give you respect. Montgomery did go into Germany on a tank. So I respect Montgomery. Monty was a man's man.
Monty was an egomaniac.
I love Monty.
Egomaniac.
I love that guy.
Right. Harmonica Man says, why do we need passports? Just ask Bill Gates what people are up to. If he can track the people that have got viruses, it means all the other people are not vaccinated. If he can track all the people that have got vaccinated, we know that everyone else isn't. That would work.
I see what you're getting at. Feel about yourself.
Right. Any last words before we run away?
My
Badger, don't start going on about the nano.
Disney is canon.
Well, no.
Don't start going on about nano things in the vaccines. You'll have the anti-vaxxers going crazy.
No, I came into this not really being swayed either way. I leave this kind of the same way that I started. That Badger is wrong.
That's always the best way.
It's
to do
by fiat, he is wrong because he's Badger.
Well, my view is that Jeff's position of not being swayed entirely either way is wrong, and my position of not being swayed entirely either way is the correct one.
Okay.
And Lost in Space than Star Trek and Star Wars.
You know, that's an interesting discussion.
Well, in approximately 40 minutes, I will be starting a 12-hour marathon. Every hour on the hour, there will be a word of the day. Well, it's a word of an hour, really. And I am featuring creators, and a few of you will be, who are in the chat now, or here in the group now, will be featured, including Godless Sewing. So look out for that.
Awesome. We've got a super chat from we've got a super chat from Godless Scummer that says Disney is canon.
Of course.
Thank you.
Who sent that?
Godless Scummer.
There must be another Godless Scummer out there. So.
Well, you tell Godless Scummer that no.
No. Just no. Badger says grrr.
But Badger, Disney did The Mandalorian.
Don't.
It was redeemable. The Mandalorian was redeemable, so it didn't, kill the entire franchise.
We cannot go down this conversation now. Does anyone else have anything else to shill?
Yes, I'd like to say one thing that they just released the count, and in my area here, we have gone 105 days at or below 0 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
I will.
Go ahead.
I will quickly shill that me and Will and our friend Maddie in kind of the next few weeks are going to have the first episode of our new podcast, Pub Religion, coming out.
Cool.
Absolutely. And tomorrow I'm going to be on with Godless Granny. We're going to be talking about Black History Month. And every Thursday, the What the Fuck stream. Come on down.
I may have a Twitter stream this week. I was thinking of that Lauren. I was thinking of that. What was her name? That Lauren Bobert or name Bobert. I don't know how her name's pronounced. She's fucking lunatic. However, that's a certain incel you guys should come across on Twitter.
He's such a nice chap.
Oh, you guys find weirdos. That guy is such a weirdo. Wow.
I'm thinking that guy may be that guy may be the next Twitter stream, and that'll be Thursday. I do it.
That was amazing. That his long thread.
Yes. Manda. Nothing. Stool, when's your next show?
I don't do shows because I'm so much better than that.
Okay.
Also, he does sexy events.
I do, yes, this is true. Immensely sexy. Also, the last thing Majig I did, I got my bottom spanked by YouTube, and I'm still upset about it because my placeholder, my
Now
thumbnail,
that does sound sexy.
Just go on.
My thumbnail had some nipples on it.
That's what you got into trouble for?
To be honest,
male or female? Whether male or female?
They were female, and the annoying
You have to
thing
change
is,
it to male.
I'd censored out their lady areas, but
Sexist bastards.
I forgot to remove the nipples, and I got a naughty for it.
You need
Just find some guy.
pasties. Sorry. You need pasties.
Considering the sort of porn that you've had on your channel, I can't believe you got taken down for that.
From the person who posted the porn.
You should use pasties.
I was there. I was there.
Can I just point out, the last time I saw one of Stool's streams, it should have been taken down just for having George Formby on there.
Stool streams are awesome. He shows all the cool copyrighted stuff.
He does. No one else dare.
Yeah.
Badger.
Hello. I'm on the internet.
Are you? Are you on Gab?
I am on Gab.
Are you?
Every time the creator of Gab says some weird Christian shit on Twitter, I'm putting an atheist meme on Gab.
You join Parler, Badger?
No.
It's not secure.
I read their terms.
You read their terms. I thought it was for free speech. But you were all
They
for that.
wanted him to carry a little card that said whether or not he'd had a vaccine.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me in without the vaccine passport, so I told them to go fuck themselves.
Actually, it was the opposite. They wouldn't let you in unless you pledged not to get the vaccine.
But no, the Parler. I remember they had something about liability thing in their terms, and then they just went, oh fuck, we're dead. So even the free speech people were like, get the fuck out.
Isn't Gab the same? Isn't Gab the same shit though? The free speech.
No, Gab's
Yeah.
not quite so bad. Gab's not quite so bad in terms of that. Gab's just got the guy who made it.
What you don't know is the
likes
real
to post his
conspiracy site is
shit on
MySpace.
Twitter.
MySpace is the conspiracy site.
You should all follow me on MySpace. It's myspace.com/badtemperedbadger.
And if you can't reach them there, send them an email.
And you can't. Yeah, coming soon to 4chan, Bad Tempered Badger.
Right.
Only fans, Badger?
No, they
Just
require
occurred to me.
payment details.
Jen, do you actually want to shield for yourself? It just occurred to me.
I have nothing going.
I've already.
Which Jen?
Which Jen?
One at a time.
I meant Australian Jen. No, Will
I've
Shield.
already been shielded for. Will Shield.
Right, now do the other one. Jenny.
Jenny already shilled.
I have nothing to say.
Right, then I can do
Well,
my
fuck.
stuff. Critical questions will be tomorrow night at 9:30 UK. I haven't actually invited anyone yet, so if anyone particularly wants to come, let me know. Other than that, I have no idea what anything is planned. This was wonderfully fun. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Me, everyone.
You're welcome.
And especially thank you to Badger for being an argumentative bastard.
I should add, I did a collaboration with
Black Sofa.
You should look at it. I'll put a link in the shit. Hang on.
Link in the shit. Hang on.
Who's probably
So you're going to put the link in Stool.
So probably is never going to collaborate with you again after this stream.
They have plans.
I thought he wasn't going to after the collaboration. Okay, apparently typing Black Sofa into YouTube just gets you videos of sofa adverts.
Yes. What would you expect? Try searching for Black Sofa Badger.
No, I did a search for the channel. That worked.
Well, there's got to be a stream. There's got to be a video somewhere on YouTube of a badger on a black sofa.
Yeah, I'm
I
linking it
don't
in the
doubt it.
chat now.
Wow, that's what bad temper badger looks like.
There we go. You can see
Right.
what I look like. I'm on camera here.
No, there's another image there.
I gotta say thank you to Badger, to Will, to Jeff, to Sam, to Jen, to Manda, to Lone Wanderer, to Stool, to Jenny, to Quinton, to God. Was that it? Have I forgotten anyone?
Oh, God was amazing. God, the good one was
He
amazing.
was just like, fuck y'all, fuck this, fuck trees, fuck the sun, I'm out.
I wake up like that every day. I
Yeah,
wake up like God, the good one.
Having read the Bible, that's exactly how I would expect God to do things. Fuck all of you.
Well, living proof that God is not. Living proof that God is not all knowing is all I'll say.
Yeah.
Right. He did come in promoting everything.
He did. I will see you tomorrow.
Oh.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.